Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Laura Prada from the Telesur Studios in Caracas, Venezuela. We begin with the news. Stay with us. And we begin in Venezuela, where the Minister for Communication, Jorge Rodriguez, has announced that the Bolivarian government has promoted a concert for peace on the border with Colombia. The event will take place on February 22nd and 23rd and will be aimed at rejecting U.S. interference attempts.
On February 22 and 23 will be held the immense concert at the International Bridge Simón Bolívar on the Venezuelan side. It will be a message for life and for peace to the whole world. There are many artists who have asked us to participate with their voice, songs and poetry dedicated to all during 2 days for that immense concert that will be held at the International Bridge Simón Bolívar at the Venezuelan border with Colombia.
Jorge Rodriguez also said that during the days when the concert is taking place, the government will provide with food and medical and free medical attention to the people from Cúcuta.
Venezuelan people and the whole world will take advantage of those days to provide more than 20,000 clap boxes to Cúcuta people to help with the extreme situation that affects children in Cúcuta. In addition, we will also provide pediatricians, surgeons and dentists to make an extraordinary day of free medical care, an act totally unthinkable nowadays in Colombia, a free medical attention to specific situations that can be solved in an outpatient way.
And the communication minister also recalled that poverty and unemployment is affecting the Colombian people living in the city of Cúcuta.
Around 40%, being almost 300,000 people, are in a poverty situation, and at least 10% of the population is in an extreme poverty situation, numbers which were taken from the National Administrative Department of Statistics of Colombia. Around 40% of the children in Cúcuta live in a poverty situation, and almost 10% of the children under 10 years living in an extreme poverty situation. Unemployment that approaches 20%, almost 20,000 children working and living permanently on the streets.
And we continue in Venezuela, where demonstrations in support of President Nicolas Maduro continue. Residents from the state of Mérida gathered to reject the U.S. interference attempts. Protesters said they will defend the peace and sovereignty of their country. The president of the National Constituent Assembly, Diosdado Cabello, joined the demonstration.
Why they attack Nicolas Maduro? Because he loves the motherland. They want a comfortable president. But I'm going to say to all the opposition that on May 20, this motherland came out. Who did they vote for? For Nicolas Maduro Moros, and our vote cares.
And U.S. Senator Marco Rubio visited the Colombian city of Cúcuta, where he endorsed interventionist policy promoted by United States administration. The Republican senator made a tour across Cúcuta on the border with Venezuela, allegedly to monitor the humanitarian aid sent by his country. Rubio will meet with different officials from Colombia's and Venezuela's right wing. Time for a first break here and From the South. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at Telesur English and on my account at Laura P. Telesur. Stay with us.
From here to beyond the South, from here to the Caribbean or further north, where can I see news connecting the whole South? From Washington, from Mexico, from Caracas, from Quito, from Havana. You can always see the news from a new vision, connecting the global south. Only on Telesur.
And we are back and we go to the Caribbean in Haiti, who has returned to normal after days of violent protests against the government and the economic crisis. Our correspondent and special envoy, Pablo Perez, has more information from Port-au-Prince.
Certainly, it seems to return to a normal situation in Port-au-Prince, the capital of Haiti. More than 11 days of popular protest in different sectors, not only in the capital, also in 10 departments that make up this island republic. However, not everything has returned operational. 100% banks, supermarkets and petrol stations are open, but not yet schools. This provides that citizens are not sure to send their children to the streets. Due to the possibility to the next protest demanding the resignation of the president of the lack of his campaigns for several accusations of diverting of state funds and corrupting acts by his cabinet. Finally, after a call to take back with the activities by the cabinet, it has been established all services, however remains disturbed and should not fail to point out the commotion that has caused the withholding of a group of foreigners armed, Serbian and Haitian, who said work for the government. Being rejected, these actions as a retributed an attempt to make the popular protest seems like violent and armed movement, something that has eventually even proven because in most of the protesters, people are from the neighborhood, making music a comparison to call the attention to the complicated situation that leaves the society in Port-au-Prince.
Thank you, Pablo. And during the last protest in Haiti, demonstrators rejected U.S. interference in the country. At least 200 people gathered in Port-au-Prince to reject what they consider is an occupation by United States in their country. They also asked for help from Russia and China to resolve the crisis that has paralyzed the island. The wave of protests were triggered by inflation and corruption.
Again, the drums and trumpets sounded to summon the Haitians to manifest themselves in the coming days. Just hours have not seen fulfilled the promises of campaign of the president. This Sunday was a reflection for many after several days of protests against the president who came to the power 2 years ago. They blamed the worsening of the living conditions of Haitians forced to subsist on less than $2 a day. Two girls ask me for food. They will tell me they're hungry and I can only say, look, I'm thinking for you, I have nothing for you. Others try to have Sundays as normal as possible. For the first time in more than a week, gasoline was sold at several stations in Port-au-Prince, the capital of the most impoverished country in Latin America. So, we go out even if there is too hot and sunny, and we need a change because you cannot live like this. Not good, that's all. The markets also opened despite the barricades that are still seen in some parts of the city. Traders say they have never lived anything like this.
Yes, things are very bad because they have never spent 2 weeks without children having school and unable to leave.
Protests began on February 7, the day of the anniversary of the inauguration of current President Jovenel Moise, accusing of diverting state funds and having been placed in the most with the support of the United States after a questioned election.
Pablo Pérez García, Telesur, Haití.
And relatives and friends of the political prisoners who were arrested during the post-election protests in 2017 in Honduras have held a protest once again. On Monday, 2 of the accused who have been in preventive detention for a year attended a hearing. Several social and human rights organizations are demanding their release. According to activists, the allegations presented by the prosecution do not fill the requirements of the law.
We think they are excessively extreme measures like a way to intimidate other people, to not go to demonstration against them in particular. I think the measures are to punish them for having participated in actions like this. For many international organizations and partners are political prisoners. We have political prisoners in Honduras.
Let's make a second short break here from the south. Stay tuned, stay with us.
Enjoy our programming from Monday to Friday, where you'll find the best information on culture, innovation, conservation, human well-being. Keep up to date on the latest innovations in science and technology with Atomun. The habits and knowledge you need to live a healthy lifestyle are on Guide Your Body. Environmental consciousness is required to preserve our Earth. Undergo your transformation on Green Zone. All about equity, diversity, and respect for identities on By Gender. Cultural manifestations, they are in all its forms and the stories of real lives. Every day we feature a wide variety of content. Only on Telesur, the news source from Latin America and the Caribbean.
Welcome back, and now we begin with information beyond Latin American frontiers. Farmers and headers in Ivory Coast have started a dialogue following years of constant deadly clashes. Nearly 3 years ago, the northeast region of Bona plunged into violence between crop growers and nomadic cattle raisers from the Fulani community, leaving 33 people dead and prompting 2,500 to flee their homes.
There is some common ground, little by little. They are slowly getting along because they now hold regular meetings between farmers and herders. which wasn't the case in the past. Today, landowners have given space for grazing. It's convenient for us because there are corridors for animals. All this made it possible for us to slowly get along.
And the iconic Virunga National Park in the Democratic Republic of Congo has reopened after a deadly ambush of a tourist group led to its closure last year. Established in 1925, the park is the oldest national park in Africa and home to about half of the world's population of critically endangered mountain gorillas. In recent years, the park has been plagued by a wave of violence that has taken over the eastern part of the country. And people who live in the arid land of Algeria have found hope in improving their lives through growing pickle pears. The prickly pear, which grows well in places of little rainfall, has become a lucrative crop in Algeria. Many have improved their lives through production and added value of the fruit. The green spiny discs are used to feed cattle, while the oil from its seeds has antioxidant benefits and is used in cosmetics.
With regards to the farmers, they have started to become aware of the importance of cultivating this product as an economic alternative in the dry and semi-arid regions.
And Palestinians are condemning a decision by the Israeli government to freeze millions of dollars in tax money owed to Palestinian Authority. On Sunday, the Israeli government decided to cut over $138 million from funds designated for the PA because of its support for jailed Palestinian militants. Tel Aviv collects around $175 million every month in taxes on behalf of the PA.
It's an occupying country and its leadership is becoming a group of thieves. This decision will be questioned by all the Palestinian people, be the authority, the national movement and the Palestinian people. This will not happen, and my estimation is that this world worse the economic crisis that is already occurring in the Palestine, and worsen this crisis could lead to a burst. The Palestinian Authority will take a number of measures. Think of them will be refusing to receive money unless we receive our tax right in its entirely. The second step is to prevent Israeli products from entering. We cannot continue a market for Israeli companies and factories. In addition, the Palestinian people will go to the streets to express their refusal to these policies.
And 7 members of the Labour Party have left their seats in Parliament for their disagreement with the party leader, Jeremy Corbyn, over Brexit. Our correspondent in London, Pablo Navarrete, has the details for us.
7 pro-Europeans MEPs leave Parliament because of the extreme decision taken in favor of the Brexit. They clarified that even though they leave the Labour Party, they don't leave their seats. They have been criticized of poorly ethics. This action will make Jeremy Corbyn less likely to win in a general election.
And Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov criticized European Union plans to apply new sanctions on Russia. Our correspondent in Moscow, Hans Eloro, has the details for us.
According to Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, this intention of the European Union to apply sanctions to Russia, taken as a pretext to recent crisis in the sea, Lavrov provides the presence of the regional bloc with the United States. Lavrov reflects that the European Union should require the Kiev government to fully comply with the Minsk agreements. During these days, these sanctions were announced at the meeting held by the representatives of the Common Foreign and Security Policy of the European Union, Federica Mogherini, with several foreign ministers. However, Mogherini and the Russian Chancellor have discussed the situation in Ukraine on the margins of the Munich Security Conference. In the case of this provocation on November 25, 3 ships of the Ukrainian Navy crossed illegally in the territorial waters of Russia in the Black Sea. It was verified these characters of provocation designated by the government of Kiev to electoral process next March 31st. For these parts concerning this relationship between Russia and Ukraine that has worsened by the provocations where 24 sailors face a trial for the illegal cruising. The European Union and Ukraine and the United States demand the release of these sailors by Russia.
And thousands of people from all over the world are in Venice for its carnival season. The carnivals of Venice have illuminated from the lights of a parade with the theme of outer space to mark the opening of the city's annual carnival. On display was a giant moon balloon carrying a caravel and a small sailing ship dating back to the 15th century. And like this, we've come to the end of this reprieve, but before we invite you to join Telesur's campaign, Drums of Peace for Venezuela, where Latin American musicians join. So we invite you to visit Telesur's social media and our website, telesurenglish.net, where you can find more information of how to join this international campaign. And before we end, we'll leave you with the song of this campaign.
Yo. Los tambores de la paz.
Suenen los ángeles de la tierra, los tambores de la paz.
Sí.
Quemen los tambores de la guerra para que no suenen más. Para que no suenen.
Yo, si por el camino corto se ha de saber cómo acaba, se cambian caricias por torrida lava. Soñaba que un día despertaríamos de este letargo y nos abrazaríamos. Toda la fe que regresa, los boomerang con afán de llevarse otra presa. Yeah.
El viento del norte no está escogiendo quién menos, quién más. Lo mismo dispara la luz, lo mismo a la oscuridad. Para eso mi hermano estás tú, por eso tu hermano estoy yo. Los dos a cargar esa cruz, que al fin nuestra sangre es igual. Basta ya. Oh.
Suenen los ángeles de la tierra, los tambores de la paz. Quemen los tambores de la guerra para que no suenen más. Para que no suenen.
Alúmbrame cielo, haz que me valga la pena el desvelo. Suelo, regálame miles de brotes, que las ideas nunca se derroten. Cúbreme azul, sin tanta metralla, entre razón, fuera batalla.
Silencio es todo lo que queda luego de una lluvia de fuego y maldad. La guerra borra las canciones de los labios que le cantan a la paz. Sentir el vuelo de vivir sin armas, como descubrir el paraíso celestial. Aquí en la tierra sin morir, aprendamos a convivir con quien no nos entienda igual, para tener un porvenir donde podamos respirar.
Basta ya. Suenen los ángeles de la tierra, los tambores de la paz.